Thanks to all for your participation, and thank you, Olivier, for sharing this presentation together. So you have the two voices presentation, and it's quite difficult to just jump on stage after Al, who's been a customer, who I could say is a competitor, was a friend, and somehow has given us a big credit. Thank you all for, I think he's left to, thank you all for your words, for your trust, and for everything you've done to this industry and to Canada during your term. So as I said earlier, I'm leading what is named Air Power, which means basically all the fixed-wing military aircraft of Airbus from an engineering background. I used to lead engineering of Airbus helicopters in the past. I have also been the head of engineering of Airbus commercial aircraft. That's not about me, and I have a rather deep link to Canada that I could nurture through. I see Michael in the first row, through different engagements across my career. Originally, I'm an Army helicopter pilot. I think the key message that we want to pass, and that slide you have here is maybe a bit facts and figures and textual, but there's one message to keep in mind. We are a deeply Canadian company. So there is time. We've been Canadian for a while, and I think I'll let Olivier elaborate on that. But I'd like to zoom out a bit and explain what we mean by being a deeply Canadian company. What's the difference we are making here, and what's the difference we are making globally? So Airbus is you see a lot of Canadian figures here. Airbus is a global company rooted in Europe, 160,000 people, 65 billion turnover, more or less. And we are fundamentally based on 3 divisions, and I will come to it in a moment. Increasingly, though, we are, despite our European roots, we consider ourselves as a Canadian pioneer. Back to the roots. We were born, and that's not to be ignored. We were born from the French, German, British, and Spanish roots. These are the four home countries of Airbus. But nowadays, when we look at Canada and the volume we spend in Canada and the number of employees you have in Canada, I think I wouldn't need to read you those figures. You all have eyes, and normally you learn how to read figures. But it's rather impressive. We have many people, and people count. You saw that on the movie. And Canada is seen from Airbus Central as the 5th Airbus country. So we might use the word pillar, we might use the word home country. Fundamentally, we feel at home here. Not only, Olivier will come to it on his personal experience, not only because my son works and lives here, not only because I have a bunch of friends here, but because we work, we design, we produce, and we service in Canada. And we have three divisions, as I said. Commercial aircraft is the main one. Let's be fair, it's the main revenue generator. You heard Al with the Boeing view. In Airbus, we're probably more balanced towards the commercial than Boeing is. And in Canada, that means the A220. The second division is Airbus Defence and Space, inside. Airbus Defence and Space covering military aircraft, covering space systems, and covering connectivity, what we name connected intelligence. And we happen to be the mother company of a number of subsidiaries like AIAC for the launchers or MBDA for the missiles. The third is Airbus helicopters, obviously, and that's I have spent 21 years in helicopters, but that's not my day for helicopters. You will hear Olivier about it. So you see it here, 5,000 people inside Airbus, and with the 850 suppliers we have, you might have, in case you had a quick look and you're an engineer like me, you might have read 700 on the movie, and you read 850. It's not that I'm trying to bullshit you. It's just that the movie is a little bit outdated, and it's growing quite rapidly. So fundamentally, a strong presence in the cities that you see here. A number of platforms, and I will start with I will start in the same order with the commercial aircraft business. Of course, the number of historical Airbus aircraft fly in Canada. The flagship here in the country is the A220, used to be known as the C series, which I think is a great success, rooted in Bombardier, with a transition to Airbus, which has just enabled to harvest the result of this powerful design. And now on the 220, we have 14 in Canada, but more than 450 worldwide, and an order book of close to 1,000 aircraft. So the A220 is a success. I flew in an A220 from Toronto to here. Quite proud, I must say. And it's the only production aircraft, commercial aircraft being produced in Canada today, as a simple fact. This program is an economic powerhouse for the country. I think I wouldn't need to be too long here, but we think of a value of 40 billion Canadian dollars over the next 20 years, which is not negligible. Now, if we move to the next slide, to keep stuck on that one, and we see products. We had a movie at the beginning. I think Olivier will show you a cool movie of helicopters at the end. For those interested, I have a number of fantastic movies of fighter aircraft. I think that the goal was not to go to the theater today, but to talk a bit about our products. The defense solutions are a question of sovereignty, a question of ability of countries to assume their own security. And that's what Airbus is after. So just sparing a bit of time on the top of the chart, I think the bottom part will be addressed by Olivier, and two platforms which are platforms of the Royal Canadian Air Force. Starting with the C295, the CC295 Kingfisher, 16 aircraft order, search and rescue. It hasn't, the aircraft has been delivered, has already saved numerous lives. That's what these aircraft are designed for. And we're very proud that the operation started in Comox, and now they're going to continue. We're going to continue opening more bases to to help the Royal Canadian Air Force assume this role, which is key for the society. And here it's a sort of basis, a circle of security. Now, the other one, the A330 Husky MRTT, is the strategic airlift. It's how to transport people, it's how to refuel aircraft, how to ensure strategic air-to-air refueling. In the wake of the previous one, which was an F-310 based aircraft, still flying with the fleet. We are at the moment delivering the aircraft progressively, and there will be up to 9, including the VIP aircraft for the government. It's an essential piece of the contribution of Canada to NOAA for everybody to know, in case you didn't have it in mind. And maybe a word on a product that you don't see on the slide because it's software. We have a company named NavBlue, which does all the mission preparation for our commercial aircraft. And NavBlue is based here in this region. Like, by the way, our central services and our headquarters are in Ottawa and in Ontario. I'll end before handing over to Olivier by the ones you don't see on that slide because they're too high, satellites. We're also eager to support Canada with satellite solutions in high-resolution surveillance from space with a DSSP program and with SATCOM. So we're one of the satellite leaders in the world. You may have heard of us in the press lately because there are a number of big corporate maneuvers in Europe. We are eager to serve Canada with our satellites, with our cybersecurity solutions. But all of this only happens, and I think Olivier will say it even more powerfully than me, all of this only happens if we are able to do a large share of the work in Canada. So let's not pass the wrong message. We are that European company, but ITB, like said before by Al, ITB matters. It can only work if we grow technologies, know-how, and industrial footprint in the country, which is what we're already demonstrating with a number of the ongoing programs, and that we are striving to boost for the years to come with more defense programs. And I think I'll stop here, because you might be bored at the end, and because I think Olivier has a lot to say on the helicopter piece. So Olivier, the floor is yours.
It's always with great pleasure that I come back to Canada, where I've spent some of the best years in my life before I joined Airbus, working for a flagship company here. Our 40-year history in the country is anchored with our leadership in the helicopter sector. With more than 830 helicopters in service, we're by far the market leader for civil platform, keeping Canadians safe through critical missions like emergency medical services, firefighting, law enforcement. Our Fort Erie, Ontario facility opened in 1984 and is a shining example of local for global, because it operates as an excellence service center for composite material, and 50% of the workforce is actually contributing to export. AIAC Canada is providing parts for 8 different types of helicopters. So basically, every time you look in the sky and you see an Airbus helicopter, you can say that it has Canadian composites on. And those components, they can be seen in over 170 countries, because this is the magnitude of our market. So we are a key Canadian industrial asset, but with uncharted opportunities for substantial long-term growth. Now, let's look at how we're positioned to support the rebuilding, the rearming, and reinvesting in the Canadian Armed Forces. Last year, we were selected and signed a contract for the Airbus H135s, which will run the rotary wing training fleet for future Royal Canadian Air Force pilots. These H135, named Charlie Tango 153 Juno by the Air Force, are building a basis for future platform that ensures seamless integration in interoperability with NATO allies. And for us, we see just as beginning. A competitive Government of Canada helicopter procurement approach unlocks significant opportunities for Canadian industry, supply chain, and high-value aerospace jobs. Yesterday, Minister McKinney said on stage here that 225,000 families depend on the aerospace industry. Well, what we're talking here about is the opportunity to expand these numbers. He also highlighted that Canada is an aerospace leader. It's a fact. It is true. But with Airbus helicopters, Airbus Defence and Space, Airbus Commercial, Airbus Group as a whole, we know how to reinforce this leadership by making Canada a new pillar in our amazing company, just as France, Germany, Spain, the UK have benefited from it since the creation of Airbus a little bit more than 5 decades ago. This achievable plan will create jobs, strengthen industrial capacity, and align with the government's industrial and technological benefits policy. And as you understood it, cooperation is part of the DNA of our government. The upcoming major helicopter campaigns for the Canadian Coast Guards, for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, for the Royal Canadian Air Force NTAPS program represent a pivotal transformative moment that will define the boundaries of what I've just described regarding cooperation. We're ready and committed to expanding our substantial Canadian industrial footprint which directly supports long-term economic benefits and skilled jobs creation here in Canada, if given the opportunity. Our ambition is to move beyond simple procurement and build a truly sovereign Canadian helicopter and drone ecosystem, injecting an estimated 400 million Canadian dollars and creating over 2,000 jobs over the next 15 years, and establishing local capabilities in research and technology, research and development, manufacturing, customization, training, maintenance for export. It will ensure unmatched value creation and operational autonomy. It may not have been the case in the past, but being autonomous as a nation has become a key strategic advantage. I've been there saying that today is absolutely mandatory. So as we look toward the future, we believe in the statement, we say what we do, and we do what we say. We look forward to reinforcing our position and becoming the Canadian solution in the defense market, supporting national sovereignty and exploring new opportunities in order to move from a trusted partner to a true sovereign industrial force. In conclusion, Airbus has demonstrated its growing dedication to Canada over 4 decades, employing over 4,000 employees. We are offering an industrial plan from the A220 manufacturing investment locally to the sovereign helicopter and drone ecosystem, and our comprehensive defense and space solution that generates wealth, skills, and strategic sovereignty once again. We offer more than just high technology progress. We offer solution and a partnership that strengthens Arctic sovereignty, modernize defense capabilities, and they deliver profound domestic industrial benefits. By leveraging the strategic axis between Canada and Europe, Airbus is uniquely positioned to help Canada forge a new frontier, solidifying our two-way relationship as true leaders in global aerospace and defense. But there is a prologue to this speech. Every single decision we make has safety, quality, customers at the center of it.
I got to say thank you for being here. Thank you for the talk. Thank you for the commitment to Canada. It's great to see the here at the end of the 220 program yesterday. So just fabulous. I had the opportunity to be out in Comox a few weeks ago, where I saw the Kingfishers all lined up. And again, we talked about the partnerships and collaborations, and got to see the planes, see the operations, just fabulous planes. The capability, second to none, but also the training in partnership with the industry, the maintenance at Winnipeg. So a lot going on. And so I want to thank you for your support. Olivier, I want to start with you with respect to Airbus helicopters. 40th anniversary, I believe, was last year. I was there. Dwayne's doing a great job getting everyone out there, the premier out there. Just fabulous capability. And just want to get your thoughts on the milestone, what that signifies for the Airbus footprint, and then perhaps what's next for Airbus helicopters specific to here in Canada.
Thank you, Mike. Well, as you said, last year we celebrated our 40th anniversary. And I think we do not have enough visibility because our facility in Fort Perry is a very nice place, lots of competences. It actually attracts a lot of people, and it's a key element of our supply chain. For instance, when I say that some parts were, composite parts were installed on every single helicopter, what you have to know also that these parts go to the assembly lines in France, and Germany, and Spain. So Airbus Helicopter Canada is part of the Airbus Helicopter industrial ecosystem. Now, talking about the future, as Jean-Brice said, there's the notion of fifth pillar, strategic partnership. I mean, both from a historical, cultural, industrial point of view, Canada is definitely a country we must focus on. I have clarity of intention. I have clarity of ambition with regards to what we could do. And I can guarantee you that what we could do is much, much larger than what we have today. Now it takes two to tango. We're ready. We're waiting for 6.
Well, we had a lot of talk about some of those signals, so we're hoping that some of the signals through the defense industrial strategy are going to come. So lots of work ahead of us on that. Jean-Brice, I want to ask you about the 6th generation fighters. And again, Airbus is a key partner on the DEFCAS program. Wanted to get your perspective on the program and what does that signify for Airbus and maybe some of the opportunities for Canada. I think maybe signals are needed on that too, but I'll let you answer.
Yeah, we heard yesterday a copy of a well-known song, Tell Me What You Really, Really Want. I don't remember exactly who said it, but that's a bit of a Spice Girls revival. We need a partner in that program named Next Generation Weapon System in Europe, which is the alliance of 3 nations, France, Germany, and Spain. And in fact, it really focuses at the aircraft, the 6th generation fighter, that stealthier, more advanced, more. But we struggle a bit to know what more of it has to be. And I think fundamentally, what all countries need, and Canada is no exception, and that's where I think your question, Mike, is spot on. It's a question of interoperability and connectivity. We've heard over the last 2 days some allusion to collaborative combat aircraft, ACPs, whatever name we give them, to the drones flying in this airspace together with the fighters. And at the end of the day, it's a question of connecting the different platforms with their different roles, whether they are an AWACS, command and control aircraft, a fighter, the aircraft delivering the effect, the aircraft relaying the information. I think that program in Europe was about that, about having a combat cloud to unify all those platforms who might find themselves isolated at some point because they are jammed. And all of this is discussed. And I think that's what the current position of Airbus is, that we see ourselves as the key architect of these systems, because we mastered the numerous pieces of the puzzle. This said, we cannot be alone. There's no monopoly, and we're just Europeans. When you look at the US neighbor, of course, we can't do this alone, but we want to bring our humble contribution to that architecture of the system of tomorrow. And here where Canada can play a role is we definitely have strong partnerships together with the development and deliveries of our current aircraft. Take just an example, the A330 MRTT Husky is a great potential platform as command and control. And the overall C2 distribution over the battlefield has to be shared between platforms. So I'm a bit technical here, but I think it's very important to highlight that. And we're offering the Canadian government our help to have reflections about it. And then what kind of products and what kind of connectivity solutions we will need, knowing that there is a wonderful good bad example in the recent history, which is the F-35. The F-35 is a blockbuster in terms of sales, but the F-35 has its unique connectivity capability. And no other aircraft, including the F-22, communicates with the F-35. So that's something that we as nations of the Western world don't have to repeat.
Thank you for that. I want to also follow up on a point Olivier made, the demand signal. And I'd like to know, maybe to both of you or either of you, a lot of discussion on defense, we've had that here. What are some of the opportunities that you see for Airbus in the defense sector in Canada? And then maybe the second part of that question is, what are some of the opportunities you see amongst the folks in the room to engage in the supply chain of Airbus? So, two-part question, you can both answer, or you can divvy it up however you'd like.
I think that there is a real opportunity for Canada in the sense that around these demand signals, there are lots of basic questions. Again, what do we really want? What do we need? There is in Europe, in Brussels, in the capital of Europe, the point at the moment is we have to be prepared for war, which doesn't mean a war will happen. But as the Latins were saying, si vis pacem para bellum, if you want to avoid the war, you have to prepare the war. It's a bit the irony here. And two countries outside of the European Union are seen as the closest allies: the UK, you will understand why, and Canada. And I think that there is an opportunity to connect, to have a different transatlantic link than the classical one. That's not against NATO, that's within NATO, that's together with NATO. And Canada can have a very, if able to express common needs and ideas of common interest with the countries, with the core countries of the European Union, there's a real potential. And symmetrically, we have to use the industrial base in Canada. The capacity we have in the recent country is a huge enabler for the development of the industrial technology base. So we firmly believe that matching the two, there is a fantastic potential in the country. And I'm saying something very generic. Maybe Olivier, you would like to add something more helicopter specific.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier the NTAX campaign, which is a very important one. It's an emblematic one, and this is clearly what we are focusing on right now, because this will be the start of the development of a strong, sustainable, long-term industrial cooperation with Canada that will go, by the way, beyond the NTAX program. And I'd like to insist on another point. Airbus Helicopters produces dual helicopters, civil aeronautic and defense and security. So, and we're by far the leader in the civil aeronautic market here in Canada. So it means that any cooperation will address both segments, meaning the potential is absolutely huge. It's not limited to one campaign. We have come jointly to look at the big picture.
This is an excellent discussion. I think we have our theme song that we're going to play together. Tell us what you want, make it really what you want. It's key. You need to get on with it, absolutely. And I think one of the things that was said here, turn that potential into reality. And we just need to start doing that. So, again, thank you for being here, sharing your thoughts, your commitment to leadership within the global aerospace community, but also the Canadian community. We're so interlinked right across the board. And I'm getting the hook again. So, again, thank you. Round of applause.